South Korea, Uiryeong County, April 26, 1982. It's 3:30 p.m. and the man you are seeing is currently having a nap with his girlfriend before he goes to work. He's 27 years old and a South Korean police officer. For all intents and purposes, he lives a very normal and conventional life. However, 12 hours from now he will end his brutal rampage that will lead the police across 5 miles and leave around 57 people dead. His name is Woo Bum-Kon. So how does a police officer, someone who is supposed to protect and serve, become a killing machine? In the case of Woo Bum-Kon, it begins rather innocently with a fly landing on his chest. When his girlfriend Chun Mal-soon swats the insect, Woo is awoken and spirals into a blind rage. As the couple argue, Woo becomes increasingly irate. Chun Mal-soon has noticed a change in Woo over the past few months. He's even told his friends how he's become severely depressed but also anxious. Woo always had a temper on him, but recently as he became more withdrawn, his flashes of anger were becoming more extreme. After the argument with his girlfriend, Woo gets dressed in his uniform and prepares to head to work. He still hasn't decompressed from the altercation and storms out of the house. At 4 p.m. he arrives at the police station with a bottle of whiskey and spends the next 3.5 hours drinking himself into a drunken stupor. Much of Woo's life before the event is unknown. He was born in 1955 and as a young man he had served in the Marines, which is a usual custom in South Korea. It was there where he gained the nickname of Power and afterwards he trained as a police officer. In December of 1980 he was hired by the National Police in Busan and settled in a small village in Uiryeong County. Aside from this snippet of information, the rest of Woo's life has been kept private and out of the public eye. After having his fill of whiskey, Woo walks out of the police station and heads home. It's now 7:30 p.m. and Woo has reached his boiling point. As soon as he enters the house, he finds Chun Mal-soon and brutally attacks her, leaving her face bloody and kicking her while she's down. He is reduced to a fit of rage and begins destroying the furniture, turning the once happy home into a chaotic mess. After assaulting his girlfriend and leaving his life in tatters, Woo heads back to the police station and gains access to the unguarded armory. The other officers on duty are currently gathered in a boardroom holding a community meeting, but 4 others were supposed to stand guard and be at the welcome desk. By a stroke of luck, they are not at their posts. Woo uses this opportunity to gather an arsenal consisting of 2 semi-automatic M2 carbines, an estimated 180 rounds of .30 carbine ammunition, and 7 fragmentation grenades. Now armed to the teeth, Woo leaves the police station unnoticed, fully prepared for what will be known as the Uiryeong Massacre. It's 9:30 p.m. and Woo is making his way towards the local post office. As he traverses the rural village's dirt roads, he spots a young man a short distance away from the police station. Within moments, Woo raises the carbine, fires, and claims his first victim. As the young man lies dead, Woo strides towards the post office, which is also used as the local switchboard. Inside, 2 phone operators are going about their jobs, connecting the community with one another. They have no idea what is about to happen. One of the operators isn't supposed to be working today, as she is covering a shift for a friend. While they go about their routine, Woo is seconds away from entering the building. Before they have time to react, Woo bursts through the front door and begins opening fire. And both of the workers are killed. In an act of calculated malice, Woo makes his way to the back and cuts the phone lines to the entire village. The residents now have no means to call the police. It's approximately 10 p.m. Many of the villagers are gathered at the local night market shopping for local produce, socializing with friends, and spending time with family members. From the outskirts of the market, Woo is watching the people he's come to despise go about their everyday lives. The seething hatred he has for them comes from their alleged conservative views and general attitude. When Woo and his girlfriend first moved in together, Woo complained that the villagers would sneer at him for living with a woman out of wedlock. According to Chun Mal-soon, however, Woo tended to feel insulted without provocation and believed he was being ostracized by the community he pledged to protect. But as he became more withdrawn, his views became more paranoid and his perception clouded. Without warning, he opens fire on the crowd, annihilating anything that moves. The night market slowly becomes a slaughter as the crowd attempts to take cover and escape. Woo pulls a pin on a grenade and throws it into the market to flush out any survivors. Further down the street, Chun Mal-soon is running towards the crowd to investigate the commotion. As she arrives, she spots Woo on his rampage, but it's unclear if he recognizes her due to the blind rage and bloodlust. He points the carbine in her direction, and she is shot. 6 people lay dead in the market, and Chun Mal-soon is initially counted among them. Fortunately, she survives the encounter. Before leaving the village, Woo grabs an 18-year-old as a hostage and moves on to the next community. Back at the local police station, the authorities have been alerted to a lone gunman opening fire on the villagers. They are shocked to learn it's one of their own. However, they take at least 1 hour to gather a team of 37 officers in preparation to search for Woo. It's 10:45 PM, and Woo has dragged his 18-year-old hostage to the next village. The terrified boy is ordered to get him a soft drink from the local grocery store. The proprietor and his family see the armed officer come inside with the young man and are a little confused. Once the boy has purchased the drink, Woo takes it, swallows one mouthful, raises the carbine, and executes him. He then turns towards the family and opens fire. The owner of the store is hit in the leg, however his wife and daughters are tragically killed. Once he leaves the store, Woo begins walking through the village using his position as a police officer to gain entry into people's homes. Once inside, Woo systematically murders the entire family. He would even murder a family of 4 while they were asleep by throwing a grenade through their window. As the residents hear the increasing gunfire and explosions, many run into the rice fields to take cover from the madman. Woo is reduced to a fit of inconsolable rage, shouting and screaming at anyone he sees before shooting them. In the end, he leaves 18 of the residents dead before moving on to the next village, being sure to stay 1 step ahead of the police. It's around 12 AM, and Woo's rampage has been going on for 2.5 hours. By this point, the police are spreading out across the villages in an attempt to search for him. As they do so, they carry the injured to safety. Among them is Chun Mal-soon. As Woo makes his way through the next community, one of the residents spots him and wonders what's going on. Woo explains he's looking for a North Korean agent that has been spotted in the village, and he is there to apprehend them. The resident then invites Woo into his house for dinner and expresses his gratitude for the hard-working officer. As Woo sits at the table, he learns that the family had cooked the dinner after being at a wake for a deceased loved one. As the group enjoy their food and reminisce about the life of the recently departed, Woo talks about how he's upset with his small salary and being transferred to a small village community after his training in Busan. However, there were other issues in Woo's life that may have led to the massacre. When he moved in with Chun Mal-soon, it was under the guise of marriage, but she was hesitant about marrying him, and her family even disapproved of the concept. Later, while she was lying in a hospital bed recovering from her injuries, she would tell the investigating officers how her boyfriend had a severe inferiority complex, and it's widely believed he was hiding some form of mental illness. Unfortunately, due to either pride or social stigma, he didn't seek help. Back at the family dinner, Woo is still discussing his personal problems. As he vents about his job, he is interrupted by one of the youngest of the family. The boy remarks how the ammunition in Woo's carbine doesn't look real. In retaliation, Woo shows the young man how genuine the ammunition truly is. In a matter of seconds, the room goes from a happy family gathering to an act of utter carnage. One by one, each member of the family is methodically butchered, including a few who managed to escape the house but were ultimately gunned down. He then continues through the village, shooting anyone he sees. Woo is now low on ammunition, and with only a handful of rounds left, he has become increasingly aware that this is a suicide mission, so he decides to make his way out of the village and towards his final destination. It's now the early hours of April 27th. Woo is making his way through the rice fields and towards an isolated farmhouse. He's burnt out and cannot keep running. As he stumbles up to the property, he knocks on the door and waits for the owner to answer. The 68-year-old villager sees the officer on his doorstep, disheveled and covered in blood. Woo barges past him and takes the family of 4 hostage. There's nowhere else for him to run, and not enough ammunition to fight. This will be his last stand. He moves the family into the adjacent barn and waits for the police. 2 hours later, at around 3:20 AM, the authorities have managed to track Woo down to the farmhouse. As they slowly surround the building, Woo is waiting for his perfect moment. At around 3:40 AM, a dead calm surrounds the property. As the police slowly approach the barn door, Woo straps 2 grenades to his chest and seizes the hostages. Before the police can restrain Woo, the grenades detonate. 3 of the hostages are killed, the 68-year-old survives but is gravely injured, and Woo Bum-Kon is dead. At the time, the Uiryeong Massacre was the biggest mass shooting in modern history. Woo Bum-Kon left a total of 56 people dead, including himself. Sadly, however, in recent years there have been others that have gone on to commit even worse atrocities. On July 22, 2011, Anders Breivik would detonate a bomb in Oslo, Norway. During the chaos, he would change into a police uniform and make his way to the island of Utøya. There he would hunt down the teenagers staying at the youth camp, taking the lives of around 77 people. In September of 2013, 4 masked gunmen tied to Islamic extremism would burst into the Westgate shopping mall in Nairobi, Kenya. During the mass shooting, parts of the mall would collapse and 71 people would lose their lives. On the 2nd of April 2015, 4 gunmen stormed the Garissa University College in Kenya. They took over 700 students hostage, freeing Muslims and killing those who identified as Christians. By the end of the siege, 148 people would be dead. And lastly, on October 1st, 2017, Stephen Paddock opened fire on a crowd of concert-goers from his hotel window on the Las Vegas Strip in Nevada. He killed a total of 58 people. Thank you all so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed the episode. A quick little update, as I'm sure many of you are aware, I have spread the Om Shinriko videos across the rest of the year. As each time I do research on a cult, I keep finding more information that I personally feel would be wrong to cut out. So I'd rather do it right with 3 to 4 parts than do it quick. Again, thank you all very much for watching and for your continued support. I've been Mr. Blank, and you've been watching Beyond the Dark.